The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody. This is Benish from WSI ALM with you today with another edition of our LaunchPad series. Today is the 14th of January, and things are warming up in Toronto, so we're very happy about that. We had the whole cold vortex down in the East Coast hitting us pretty bad as well. Temperatures were down to minus 30, minus 40. Any Australian ICs that are signing up, I mean, send us some sun our way. I was watching a bit of the Aussie Open last night, and people were sweating, and they're having dehydration on court, so we definitely need some of that warmth. Excellent. So I'm getting a couple of pop-ups here. Okay, all good. I'm pretty sure the audio is okay. If it isn't, just give me a quick shout out, but I think the audio is good to go. All right, let's get started. So with a relative amount of inactivity for the past couple of weeks as far as news and events related to the online marketing industry are concerned, things have changed. Things are back into high gear. There's a lot of news that I need to that we want to share with you for this week that's been happening in the industry. And so we are back to a regular agenda, which is the featured news items for the week. So that's the first part that we'd be covering. And then moving on to a tool of the week, where we're going to be reviewing a pretty cool tool that is kind of very basic. It's not very fancy, doesn't have a lot of fancy design associated with it, but is extremely effective in terms of competitive monitoring. So that's a tool that we'd be sharing, and best of all, it's free. So we love free. Give me a quick second. I'm just going to close my Google pop-up so we don't get interrupted. Great. All right. Okay, excellent. So we're going to, as I was mentioning to you, we're going to be discussing this competitive analysis tool in our tool of the week section. And it's a free tool. It's a very powerful tool. So hopefully a lot of you can get benefit out of that. And then we'll, of course, finish off with our questions section at the end of the day. Okay, moving on. So let's move to the first news item of the week. And this is to do with Bing. If you might remember, a couple of months back, we'd reported the fact that Google's kind of Bing's following Google's route, where all their searches are going to be encrypted. And this is primarily happening because of, one, the whole Edward Snowden NSA thing, where the users, they weren't very comfortable with the search information that was being archived and shared, and the government's putting a lot of pressure on search engines like Google and Bing to release information as far as searches were concerned to these agencies. And so Google essentially took the step of moving everything to a secure search, which impacted the search industry quite massively a couple of months back. And now all searches in Google are secure. So you have that little HTTPS, www.google.com, and you're typing that out. And soon after, Bing also reported the fact that they were going to be testing out the secure version of their URLs, and slowly but surely moving to a system where all their searches would be secure as well, so that they wouldn't have any data to share with any of the government agencies in the first place. They wouldn't be under pressure to release any information because they wouldn't have the information in the first place. So we've seen evidence of that, and I wanted to show you how this looks. So if you go to bing.com, their secure URL is now active. So you can see, if you look at my screen right now, it says https bing.com. Prior to this, I mean, all you could do is just go bing.com, and that's still active right now, but they're doing this transition pretty slowly. So the first step is to actually make that URL active, which they have. So if I go https / so as you can see, it's also resolving. So they've made the HTTPS version active, and then as commented on their site, the official comment from them was that at this time we are still evolving our rollout of the HTTPS at Bing, and as we continue to develop our implementation, we're going to keep the SEO SEM community needs top of mind and balance them with consumer privacy and security concerns. And they've made this statement primarily because there was a lot of backlash that happened from the SEO industry when Google essentially made all of their searches secure, because our keyword data essentially went to zero in our analytics. We can't really see any keyword searches that are taking place in analytics. The best bet being Google Webmaster tools, as we showcased in one of our LaunchPad webinars. So Bing's quite aware of that. They still want to be relevant from a search user perspective. They want to give some good keyword data. So they're trying to strike a balance. And let's see how they basically evolve this. So so in summary, Bing's started the rollout of their secure search, and soon enough, I'm pretty sure this is going to be rolled out 100%. Great, moving on. So here's an interesting search engine, DuckDuckGo. Some of you might be familiar with this, but it's kind of been under the radar for quite a while. But very steadily, it's been rising. And if you look at their search volume, they just celebrated a milestone. They did a billion searches in 2013. It's not quite the level of Bing, and perhaps even definitely not the level of Google. They do a billion searches probably in like a day. Okay, a day is probably an exaggeration, but they definitely have a very high number. It's getting there. I mean, this is an interesting search engine that's come about that's in parallel to Google, Bing, and Yahoo. And one of the reasons why they've gotten so successful, especially in 2013 and had such a high growth, as you can see, I mean, when you look at their graph, it just shot up after July. I mean, from July to January 2014, you see like that growth's just been simply explosive. And one of the main reasons for this explosive growth is the fact that DuckDuckGo has been a secure search engine from day one. They never capture any data. They allow you to search anonymously, find your information instantly, and that's been a huge pull because when the information was revealed, with Edward Snowden and the whole privacy thing coming into the picture, and the fact that Google had to share tons of information with government agencies, and so does Bing, people started migrating on to DuckDuckGo, which is an anonymous search engine. You can search your search queries totally anonymously over there, and that's really what benefited DuckDuckGo, and it's done really well for 2013. And just so for people that are not familiar with this search engine, I mean, let's take a look at this. So this is the interface for DuckDuckGo. So it's duckduckgo.com, and let's say you just want to do a random search for shoes. So as you can see, the search engine's also kind of configured a little differently. The first thing that it does is that it actually gives you your definition of the search term that you're searching for. It gives you some related news and information with regards to the search that you've done. Then it gives you a sponsored link. You can actually advertise on DuckDuckGo, so it gives you a sponsored link, and then after that you get all these natural listings that are coming up. Now, because it's an anonymous search engine, it's not personalizing the information. So that means the rankings are a non-personalized rankings that you're seeing. They don't take into account your personal preferences, your interests, etc. They just like how Google started showcasing relevancy as a major part of the algorithm. DuckDuckGo simply just gives you searches because they do not have any information about you. You can search anonymously over here. You can also try the search on related sites like Overstock, Zappos, Macy's, Amazon, eBay. They kind of look at what sort of a search you've done, and then they give you other search engines or shopping sites that you can actually search with, just an easy click from their search engine interface. So this is DuckDuckGo. Something to watch out for because the whole privacy concern has really benefited them, and as they advertise, I mean, they're all about anonymity. So that's a huge selling point for this particular search engine. So something to watch out for because they're doing particularly well for 2014. Excellent. Moving on. Great. So there's Chitika is basically a data-based company. They do a lot of data analysis, and they recently did an analysis in North America with regards to different trends, browser trends, search engine trends, internet usage trends, etc., etc. And they came up with some pretty interesting information. So what they found out was that Utah in the U.S. has the highest Google usage. West Virginia has the lowest Google usage in terms of percentage of users utilizing Google. There's some other stats that basically came about of this survey. Wyoming and Virginia are the two states with the highest Linux-based PC usage. There's another one, which was Washington, is Microsoft country. 98% of the users are on Windows products, so that's kind of interesting. For Mac users, here's some interesting data. Vermont Hawaii and Alaska have the highest percentage of Mac users, so it's kind of interesting. And in terms of Google usage, the top 3 states were Utah at 73%, which is kind of interesting information. California and New York, no surprise, big states in the U.S. So they were the top 3 states that were utilizing Google. That was Utah, California, and New York. And then West Virginia had the lowest percentage of Google users at 54%. There's other information. This was posted on Search Engine Land this week. So you can actually click on the link. There's a lot more information related to this particular analysis that was produced by this company. Some interesting stats, just, general knowledge. Okay, so here's some interesting bit of information. So Matt Cutts recently announced in Google Webmaster Tools, what they've done is they've actually added mobile stats to Google Webmaster Tools. So prior to looking at your Webmaster Tools account, you did not necessarily have information and traffic related data separated with total traffic and mobile traffic. But now you can actually separate total traffic and mobile traffic. So if you look at this, this particular graphic over here, you have top queries. This is like the search queries page on your Webmaster Tools account. So you have your top queries, and in the top queries, you can now filter by mobile. So you can actually add in a filter by mobile, and it's actually going to show you all of your mobile related queries. You can even, if you have a separate mobile site, like in this example, m.example.com, you can actually just look at your mobile site as well and look at the information that's being presented with regards to mobile site statistics. Now, a lot of this information you can also get from your analytics account, but Google Webmaster Tools is like, good information, especially when it comes to keyword related data. It's raw, it's unfiltered, so there's a lot of good information that you can get out of your Webmaster Tools account. And they've added this enhancement of reporting mobile stats. Now, another enhancement that Google Webmaster Tools has done is that in the past, your impressions data, as you can see in this graphic over here, it says 700,000 impressions and queries. Your impressions data and your clicks data was being rounded off in Webmaster Tools. So technically, let's say you might have had 698,700 impressions, and they rounded it off to 700,000. You might have had 34,950 clicks, and they rounded it off to 35,000. So they're no longer going to be rounding off the data. They'll give you raw data. So whatever the actual data is in terms of your clicks and impressions that Google Webmaster Tools is calculating for your website, they will report that exact information to you. There's no rounding of numbers that's going to be taking place anymore. So these were like the 2 recent enhancements that were done by Webmaster Tools. Great. I see some questions popping up, so I'm definitely going to be addressing them at the end. The other news for the week was the Google image search adding usage rights to the search tools. So prior to this addition that they've done, and it's not necessarily an addition, this information's always been there in image search, but you just had to dig a little bit deeper when you're looking for the information in order to find it. Now they've made it like front, right, and center, right there in front of you. So if you do any sort of like an image search in Google, what they're now showing you is usage rights associated with that image. A lot of people look for images in Google so as to reuse them, use them for their projects, use them for their presentations, etc., etc. And the usage rights was something that you had to really dig into. So you'd have to click on the image, you'd go into the advanced info related to the image tab, and then you'd get the usage rights data. Is it filtered? Is it labeled for reuse? Is it labeled for commercial reuse? And then you have all these different options like label for reuse with modification or label for commercial reuse with modification. So now this information's front and center when you do an image search in Google. Some of you might not be seeing that appear as of right now in your browsers when you do an image search because it's still being rolled out to all of the users. But a lot of us have started seeing the usage rights tab right next to like size, color, type, time, etc. based on the actual search that you've done. There's a usage rights tab that's coming up over there. So you can look at the usage information for that image right there itself and then utilize the image in whatever way that you deem appropriate. However, a word of caution. even though the usage rights might suggest that you can utilize the image without any copyright infringement and you can change the image and do whatever you want with it, do bear in mind that this image that's appearing in a Google's image search might have been copied from another website. And so the original usage rights might be violated when this image was copied by another website, and that's what's coming up in the image search results. So that's something that you have to be careful about, because you might not be getting accurate usage rights information related to the image, because the image result that's showing up might have been copied from the original source. So still, if you're copying images from Google Images for your clients or for professional use, be very careful, because there might be some sort of a backlash and you might be potentially infringing on our copyright issues when it comes to utilizing images. So I'd still be a little careful. But Google's made it a little easier for us now in order to see the usage rights. Great. So interesting information coming out of Ireland and in Europe. So the Ryanair CEO has made a comment. He did an interview with the Irish Times a couple of days back, and in that he mentioned the fact that Ryanair is working with Google on a flight search and a comparison tool. And the whole premise is that Google doesn't, and this is all coming out of the interview. So what he said was that Google doesn't really make money out of selling tickets. What they really do make money out of is advertising. So it's in their interest to put out the most accurate search and comparison tool that's out there, so that like visitors, users can compare prices, can shop around for the best flight that they're looking for, and then go ahead and make the purchase. All Google really wants to do is put out unbiased information so that they can compare carriers and they can then choose the best deal for them. So in an effort to do that, what Google's doing is that they're working with Ryanair very closely, and they're coming up with a flight search and a comparison tool. So Ryanair is being very transparent when it comes to all their routes, their costs associated with all the different flight routes, and then all of that information is going to be taken by Google, and I'm pretty sure that they're working with other airlines in this aspect so as to put the information in their flight search. For the ones that are not aware of Google Flight, let me actually show you how this works, and it's a pretty cool tool. So you just go to Google. Well, it's going to be, you're targeting the URL for me, but all you do is just go to google.com or google.co.uk and just go to flights. It brings you to this sort of an interface. So it's detected my location, which is Toronto. It's all airports, and then let's say I want to go to New York, so I just type in New York. And yeah, I'm not fussy about where I land. I can land at LaGuardia or Newark, doesn't matter to me. So let's just go New York, all airports, and then let's say that I want to plan a trip around the 7th of February, and I want to return, say, on the 9th of February. I can choose my class, so economy, premium economy, business, first class. Let's travel economy. And then, as you can see, it gives you a lot of features. Like, you have stops, non-stop, one-stop, two-stop, price. You can segregate by price, segregate by airline. You have all these different airlines that are flying this route, so it showcases all the airlines to you. Times, do you have any preference on the times? In this case, I haven't detailed any preference on the times. A duration, any duration, and then you can also select connecting airports if in case you want to have stopovers, right? So in this case, it pulls the information for me, and I see that the best flights are Porter, which is a small airline based out of Toronto, doing extremely well. And flying with Porter is amazing. It's kind of like, not that I experienced the Pan Am days, but apparently that's what people compare it to. Luxurious flying. They get you a drink in flight, give you some from some free food in there at the airport. You have an exclusive lounge where they serve you food. So great, small charter airline, and doing extremely well. So as you can see, that's a pretty awesome deal. $247 for a round trip from Toronto to New York. That's an incredible deal. So I can go in here and I can click on, let's say this works for me, and then I can choose my return flight. So that was my departing flight, 10:45 a.m. and I choose my return flight, let's say for the 11th, the Sunday, the February 9th. Let's say this one in the morning. It maps out the entire round trip for me, as you can see. Have a great time in the Big Apple, $247 round trip, including taxes and fees, one adult, which is a pretty awesome price for a trip to New York from Toronto. Porter's got a big sale going on right now, which is why they're capturing all the latest information. So the tool's pretty accurate when it comes to flights in and around North America and all of the different airports based out of North America. It wasn't that powerful for the rest of the world, and in particular Europe. And that's exactly what Google's trying to work on, which is where this whole Ryanair interview comes in, and they want to try and make this tool much more powerful from a flight search and a comparison perspective, and incorporate all of Europe in there. There's a lot of travel that happens in Europe, so they want to take advantage of that. But I really suggest, if you're based out of the U.S. or Canada, to take advantage of this tool, because you get some pretty amazing deals. Again, just go to google.com/flights, and then it pulls out all the different information for you. As you can see, it's comparing all these different airlines: Air Canada, United, Porter, etc. Great. So moving on. So Twitter's co-founder, Biz Stone, has launched a new social search app. A very interesting social search app that we look at in a second. It's called Jelly, and it's Biz Stone's latest venture into the whole questions and answers segment on the internet that has largely been unsuccessful so far. Google tried Google Answers, Yahoo's tried Yahoo Answers. You have Quora, Quora. Quora's not been very successful. Ask Jeeves, who was started off as primarily a question answer search engine, changed the branding over to Jeeves. So it's been a very challenging vertical for a lot of the companies to be working under, which is this whole question and answer vertical. So Biz Stone has taken a different approach to this whole Q&A segment, which is a big segment. There's a lot of traffic that goes through, and a lot of people have a lot of questions they want answered. He's taken a little bit of a different approach. He's used the whole social aspect to Q&A, obviously taking advantage of his background and all the experiences with Twitter. So his company is called Jelly. This is a new company that he's launched. And the way that Jelly works, let me actually show you the homepage for Jelly. So just go to jelly.co. That's the homepage for Jelly, and then just click on more info. And there's a nice little video that explains to you as to what Jelly is all about. I'll give you a little synopsis. So what it basically does is that, let's say that you're walking down the street, and I'm taking a perfect example of exactly like how they explain it to you on the website. Let's say you're walking along, you spot something that you don't know what it is, you take a picture, crop it, send it to your friends that are a part of your network, so essentially using social media, and you ask a question, hey, what is this? And then it's your social media circle, basically your friends, that respond back to you and tell you what it is. So Jelly is kind of like, it's give and take. So a lot of the times you'd be getting questions from your network of friends that you'd be responding to. It's also a way to enhance your network, because your friends, let's say if you send me a question, I don't know the answer to that, but I have somebody that I think might know the answer. I'm going to basically take your message, forward it across to my friend that I think knows the answer. And then that friend is now connected with you, the original individual that asked the question, and he responds back because he does know the answer, he or she. And then now that guy is also a part of your original network, and he wasn't. So it's a way of kind of expanding your network. At the same time, it's a great way of harnessing your social media, your social network, so as to get you the results, the answers that you're looking for. So that's the whole idea behind Jelly, which is to really utilize your social network to respond to any queries that you may have. And it's, again, works in the principle of give or take. There'll be questions coming at you. If you know the answer, you're supposed to answer back. It's like the whole honor code. And then if you don't know the answer to something, you send it out, and then your social network's going to respond back to you. Interesting move. It's all it's an app, so it's all smartphone based. You can it's largely based on images. That's the whole premise of asking questions. And there's a lot of features that you can utilize with images, etc. So Again, let's see how this does, but knowing the kind of success that they got with Twitter, it would be worthwhile to kind of keep a track of Jelly and see how Jelly does. So that's their latest venture when it comes to tackling the question and answer segment, which has been largely unsuccessfully tapped by a lot of the other companies, as I mentioned. Great. So that was a very interesting post on Search Engine Journal that was done. Posted recently. It talked about the best posting times for like tweets, Facebook posts, emails, and blog posts. And this is a little bit of a challenge for marketers. When should we be posting information that's going to make the most amount of sense for getting the best ROI? When's the engagement rate the highest? And this is again something that is different for different industries, companies, verticals, B2B, B2C. So there's been a lot of debate on this. There's been a lot of testing on this as well. So Search Engine Journal put out a study, and they reported some stats. So I thought I'd share some of these stats with you. So one of the things that they talked about was with regards to Facebook. Engagement rates they found were 18% higher on Thursdays and Fridays. So if you want to engage the audience on Facebook and you want to put your relevant posts and important posts out there, the idea is to actually do it on a Thursday or a Friday. And that also coincided with high weekend engagement rates as well. So when you compare Saturday to a Sunday to the rest of the week from Monday to Thursday, Saturday and Sunday still do a lot better than Mondays to Thursdays, which kind of makes sense logically. I mean, you're working from Monday to Friday, Thursday, Friday, maybe, you're like kind of taking it a little easy, and that's when, you go on to Facebook and you're looking at all the different posts that are taking place. So if you have any important stuff to send out, target Thursdays and Fridays. If it's more sort of like B2C related, coupons, offers, anything of that nature that you want to post out there, put it out on a weekend. That's when people are spending time on Facebook. The same thing for Twitter as well. Twitter engagement for brands is 17% higher on the weekends. Again, no surprise there. You have a little bit of more time on hands when it comes to the weekends. So your Twitter engagement is also higher, 17% higher. That's what they found for the weekends. The next thing they looked at was email marketing, and this has again been a point of contention for marketers. Some people are of the impression that Wednesdays is a very good day to send out email marketing information, or Tuesdays is a really good day to send out email blasts. Definitely not a Monday, because people coming back from work and they're inundated and they're just going crazy with their delete button with their emails. And then in terms of sending out emails, that's also been a point of contention in terms of when you should send it out. So this company basically did their own analysis based on a huge amount of data that they have, and they came up with this segregation of time zones that they have. So what they mentioned was that 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. essentially a dead zone. Hardly any emails are getting open. Again, makes sense. People are sleeping. That's kind of like their off time, so they're not really checking emails or responding to emails. I guess unlike you and me, we're checking emails all the time. But so 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. kind of like the dead zone. 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. They mention the fact that if you have any consumer-based emails, they're best sent early in the morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. because people are going to come in, they're going to read the information that you're sending out. 10 a.m. to noon, people are working, they won't open your email, they don't have time, not a good time to send out emails from 10 to noon because people again just get to work, so they're catching up on their emails in their inboxes. Noon to 2, you have a little bit of a break. Obviously you have your lunch, so any news or magazine related updates are very popular during lunch because people can just kind of scan their information really quickly while they're on their lunch break. So noon to 2 p.m. is good for that sort of activity. 2 to 3, again, sort of like a dead zone because that's right after lunch. People are going into meetings. People have agendas. So 2 to 3 p.m. is again a sort of a dead zone. So ideally, no communication should be sent out between 2 and 3 p.m. 3 to 5, they found out that property and any financial related offers are best sent in the early afternoon. So 3 to 5 p.m. is a pretty good time slot for sending out any financial related information, stock updates, any property related information. People have a certain amount of attention span at this stage. So it's best targeted for those kind of offers. 5 to 7 p.m. they were of the idea that holiday promotions, any B2B promotions, have displayed the highest click-through rates in early evening. So from 5 to 7 p.m. if you have any sort of like, if you're dealing with travel-related clients, if there's any strong B2B promotions that are being pushed out, it's best to send it from 5 to 7 p.m. And then what they mentioned was that 7 to 10 p.m. usually, you have your dinner, you're just relaxing. So consumer promotions can again be sent out after 7 p.m. up until 10 p.m. They're very popular during this time. People are relaxed and they're actually opening up their emails again, and they're more likely to look at non-serious emails and just scan through their information. So interesting information, and again, they used a lot of data to come up with this analysis and break down these hours. So the information should definitely be paid attention to. But at the end of the day, definitely do your own A/B split tests. Test out different times of the day, different times of the week to send out email blasts. This should not deter us from doing our A/B testing to try and see and determining our own best open rates for the days of the weeks as well as the hours of the day. Good information regardless. They also had blogging information that they released. They talked about the fact that 70% of their users in their study read blogs in the morning, which kind of is, I can personally relate to it. It's the first thing that I do is, when I get up, I just scan through all the blogs, check my email. So it is in sync with, what I would potentially do. More men read blogs at night than women. That's another stat. No comments there. Mondays are the highest traffic days for an average blog. 11 a.m. is usually the highest traffic hour for an average blog. Again, people are reading, blogs. They want to get caught up with the information, the latest and the greatest that's happening, anything that they missed over the weekend. So there's a lot of blog postings that are going out on Mondays. What they also noticed was that comments were highest on Saturdays around 9 a.m. on most days, and that's again, I guess, where people want to be engaged in the weekend, which kind of relates to Facebook and Twitter, where their engagement levels are also the highest on the weekend. So it kind of relates to that. So comments are usually highest on Saturdays and around 9 a.m. most days. People want to look at the information and then put their thoughts and opinions out there. Blogs that are posting more than once per day have a higher chance of inbound links and more unique views. What this tells us is that based on their data that they're gathering, blogs that actually post frequently, that are putting out information more frequently, have a higher chance of getting circulated out, getting reposted, retweeted, etc., and they will incur more unique views. Logically makes sense. If you're putting out more content, chances are that you're going to get more unique views, because the more the content out there, the more the exposure that you're getting. So, from a logic perspective, it does make sense that if you have more postings, the more unique views that you're going to be getting. But what's interesting is that this statistic tells us that you can post more than once a day, and you still will be okay. But I would again take this information with a grain of salt, because you don't want to burn out your audience. So you have to be very careful with the amount of information that you're putting out there and the quality of the information that you're putting out, because you don't want to burn your readers with information that's not so relevant. You have to keep the quality up. So that's as far as blogging data from the study. You can actually take a look at this study at this link below that we've provided you, which is the Search Engine Journal Scientific Guide, Posting Tweets, Facebook Posts, Emails, Blog Posts, Best Times. So you can actually access that link, and there's a lot more detailed analysis and a lot more information. We consolidated the information and sent this over, the main highlights. But a lot of good information in that post at the bottom. Great. So that was as far as like the news items for the week, which we wanted to bring to your attention or were concerned. So that brings you up to date in terms of what the major news events have been for the last 7 days. Moving on to our tool of the week section. So we have a pretty interesting tool this week that we wanted to showcase, and it's called changedetection.com. Very crusty, very simple, very sort of like raw. I'm going to take you through this tool. So this is the homepage of this tool. It's changedetection.com. As you can see, it's very raw. It doesn't have a lot of fancy designs associated to it. Just base level, basic information. You do have a login option, so you can actually log in, you can sign up, and then it remembers you. What it essentially does is pretty cool. So changedetection.com, it alerts you. You can set up alerts and track any sort of changes on any website pages that are taking place. So let's say that I have a competitor's page that I'm monitoring, and the competitor puts out their promotions on that page on a regular basis, and they keep updating their promotions. And I want to keep a track of that because I want to make sure that my promotions are in line or better than what my competitor is putting out there. So I kind of like want to do a price monitoring on my competitor. What I could do is I could just simply put in the page address, right? So let's say, I want to track whatever. Let's say I want to track the Zappos homepage. I don't want to do that because I'm going to get killed with all the data, and I'm sure they're probably doing hundreds of updates a day. And then I just put in my email, all right? And then just hit next. Now it actually allows you to customize the kind of alerts that you're setting up. So it gives you a quick message that says you successfully accessed the page. Now we recommend identifying this alert with a short name for easy reference. When you've done it, hit the create button and you're all set. So the page address was Zappos, the home page that I want to track. It automatically captures the page title. So this is the actual page title for Zappos. The alert name, so I want to kind of simplify that. I can just put in Zappos homepage tracking, right? Send alerts up to once per day, per week, per month, RSS only, so you can actually track the time frame of the changes that you're looking for and how frequently you want to get updated. If you say once a week, then it's going to summarize all of the changes that are taking place on this page for that week and send you across one email a week with all the changes. Only sends alerts if there's a sizable change, and then it goes on to talk about like what sizable really means. As they say, this isn't really well defined, but we try and ignore small changes like dates or numbers changing. So if there's any dates or numbers that are changing, it's going to ignore those and only send you when there's like text-based changes. You can also mark it saying that only send the alert if text is added or removed. Only send alert if added or removed text contains these words. So you can put in like price, you can put in the dollar sign, you can put in promo, and that's how you can basically do your tracking. All you have to do is just set this up: page address, page title, alert name. Configure the type of alert that you want set up, and just hit create. I'm not going to hit create because I'm going to get bombarded with all the changes, but hit create and that's it. Your change detector is set up and in motion, and on a regular basis based on the time frame that you've chosen, either daily or weekly, you're going to start getting updates like this. So let's look at these pages that are getting tracked. So it's actually showing you all the pages that are getting tracked by different people right now. So like let's take a look at this one. So somebody's tracking tvguide.com, and so the cache entry is from 8 o'clock Pacific 2014 today, and as you can see, it's showing you what's been changed, what's hot. So it's showing you what's hot. Obviously you had the Golden Globes this weekend, so that's what's definitely trending on the TV guide, and then there's shows, and then you can see what the original text was and what the changes and what's being showcased right now. So a pretty cool tool when it comes to tracking your competitors, especially when you want to track and see what they're doing with regards to promotions, with regards to pricing, if they're making any changes, etc., and then alert yourself right away as far as the changes are concerned. And it's really good for the ICs to track some of the client's competitors using this tool and potentially even make this a billable activity, because you can just simply take the information here, dump it into an Excel sheet, make it, format it nicely, make it look nice and pretty, and then every time that there is a change, do a weekly or a monthly monitoring and just charge the client a fee, like, 50 or $100 to just do page monitoring for clients. Build it in blocks, like five pages, 10 pages, X amount of dollars or pounds or euros for monitoring these changes. And the client's pretty happy because you're giving them very accurate information on all the changes that are taking place. So again, free tool. Not very sophisticated. It's not a very pretty looking tool, but hey, it does the job. Right? So this is a tool that we wanted to share this week with you. Excellent. So let's move on to our Q&A. So I'm going to pull up some of the questions that we have. Sheriff has a question with regards to our recordings. Could you possibly help us with the whereabouts and WSI's GNS on your prior LaunchPad recordings? Sheriff, all of our recordings are available on our YouTube channel, which is I'm actually going to show you this right now because we're getting these questions quite frequently. So if you go to youtube.com, and then just go /WSI ALM. So this is our official YouTube channel, and then as you can see, all of our webinars have been uploaded here. So 31st December, 24th, 17th, the 7th January webinar is going to be uploaded, 7th and the 14th is going to be uploaded today. So all of our webinars are available over here. So you can definitely take a look at them and enjoy the sessions. Our Mark Patton has a question with regards to the copyright, image copyright. How do you track back to the real copyright holder of an image? That's a very good question, Mark, and it's a little tricky, and you can't simply do that through Google's image result, because even Google mentions that themselves, that the image that they're showcasing on their search results might have been copied but just optimized better so that it's actually showcased higher up in the rankings than the original source of the image, because that secondary image, that copied image, was actually optimized better, which is like Google showing it ahead of the original image. So this one's a little tricky. What I would advise you, Mark, is to not go through Google Images to source images for yourself or your clients. Go through sites like iStock Photos, or there's tons of other sites that are out there that are specializing in stock photography. There's even free sites that are out there. So I mean, iStock I know is a little expensive, but there's even free stock photography sites that are out there. If you just type in free stock photography, you'll have plenty of sites and plenty of options that come up. I would suggest to go down that route, especially when you're sourcing images for web projects, websites, for your clients, for yourself. Just to be on the safe side, I'd go down that route as opposed to taking images from Google, because that's always a little tricky. Bob had a question with regards to the email open data analysis. So with regards to the company that did the open data analysis, and then I guess he found it. So that was actually mentioned on Search Engine Journal, Bob. So you can just click on that link. It actually talks about the company that did that whole survey. Terrific. Excellent. No other questions as such. Great. This is another session of LaunchPad. Thank you everybody for joining us for our LaunchPad edition. If you have any questions, please email Armando or myself. Armando's been missing in action here. He was having a nice sunny vacation while we were shivering away in the cold. He's back today, so we let him be today because I'm sure he's overwhelmed with a lot of queries that are coming in, but we're going to grab him for the next webinar, so he's definitely going to be joining us for our next Tuesday session. And as mentioned, if you have any questions with regards to any service offerings that we have, we've also started doing lead generation in North America, in the US and Canada. We can produce and generate leads that are specific to your territory. They're priced at $75 a lead through email marketing. That's how we're generating these leads, getting some good traction. So if you have any questions or if you need more information about our lead generation services, just shoot us an email. And it's a pretty interesting thing that we have for lead generation, where we have the ability to target leads in your city. We also can focus on certain industries that you want to get leads generated from. So if you're looking for leads from HVAC, et cetera, let us know and we can definitely target leads for you. Anyways, more information, just shoot me an email, info@wsilm.com, and I can definitely provide you more information on our lead generation services. Excellent. Thanks once again, everybody, for joining in, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.